I've been using the 2018 iPad Pro for the past 3 years. Prior to that, I was using the iPad Mini Retina for 5 years. Before that, I was using the iPad Mini first generation. So when Apple announced the new iPad Mini, I was really excited to get my hands on it and check it out. But after using it for over a week now, I'm so conflicted with this device. I knew with the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, I didn't like it right away, which you could check out that video on that down in the description. Also, I'll put links to the current iPads so you can check those out. With this, I absolutely love some things about it, but then so annoyed with others. So let's take a look at what this does, some of the good features, and the reasons why I can't keep using this thing and I'm gonna get rid of it. Now let's talk about some of the reasons to get the iPad Mini. It does some great stuff. It is some beautiful hardware and really has some great features to it. First, let's talk about the size. It is the most portable iPad you are going to get. That is the reason I bought it, not to replace my Pro, but to slot in there for a more portable device. It's great for watching content on it, for reading books. It goes into the pocket of my cargo shorts. You don't need a huge bag to store this. The next thing on this, the cameras, I don't care about the back one. I'm not gonna take pictures with it. It does shoot 4K, but this front camera and Centerstage is really nice. And if you're not familiar with Centerstage, what it is an ultra wide camera, and then it basically crops down to you to fill the screen. If someone else enters the shot, it will widen out and then keep you both centered up. Pretty cool feature, especially if you're doing a lot of different Zoom calls. Next thing I like about this is it's very powerful. It's powerful. You can edit videos on this quickly and easily. It exports out nicely. It's going to take longer than the Pro, but look at the price difference. This is great also for gaming if you're doing gaming on the console, or if you pair it up with a controller, great gaming device. You can do all the same stuff you do on an iPad Pro, you just got a smaller canvas. You could do split screen and slide over. Windows get kind of small. Now note that some apps, the icons get really small. A pencil may help with navigating if you're hopping between different features. Next great thing about this is the Apple Pencil support. I love that I can use the Apple Pencil I already have. If I put it on the Pro, it syncs to that. I put it on here, it's ready to go with this. This thing's great for drawing or taking notes. If you tap the screen, it's going to launch right into notes. If the iPad is open and you swipe up from the bottom, you can do quick notes where you can take notes. You can also capture web page links. You can do a screen grab by swiping up from the left. Now, one of the biggest uses I see for this is content. Great for watching videos. Like I mentioned, speakers on the side, big improvement, gives a fuller sound. One thing I found though is if you're holding it like this, you do start to block some of the sound of speakers. So might want to roll it over, play with it, see how you feel with it. Playing games on it, very cool, especially to give you the larger pad if you're used to playing on your phone. This is great for reading. I wouldn't pick it over a Kindle if you like to read outside, but really looks good on this. And the fact it's so lightweight makes it really easy to sit around and read a book on this. Now let's talk about the reasons I wouldn't recommend this and don't want to keep this. And no, before we move forward, none of this may apply to you. You may have no issue with this. And if that's the case, you're gonna get a great tablet. But for me, in my workflow, these things annoy me and I don't want to move forward with them. I say that as someone who owns an older iPad Pro that has worked very well. So if this is your first iPad Mini, I would definitely think about some of this stuff. Like I said, there's great features, no complaints about the hardware. It is iPad OS that I have a problem with. I feel like Apple got extremely lazy. They took an iPad Pro or iPad Air and just shrunk it down, and the scaling on this is horrible. Let's just start off with the home screen. Look how much wasted space is here. I know it's a smaller screen in a mini device, but why? Why couldn't this be increased by 10% in size? Text on here is smaller than on my iPhone. The widgets on here are too small to really use, especially when compared to something like my iPhone widgets. I could look at the note widget on my phone and it's easier to read than the widget on the bigger screen device. When you rotate it around, same thing, the spacing of icons. You could call it nitpicking if you want. Buy the device. But I think for a $500 device, I would consider not very well optimized. You can go into accessibility and make the icons bigger, But even if you change the text size, it isn't going to make the text any bigger with the icons. Now the next thing that's bothering me is the keyboard. It's either too big to use or really too small. And what I mean by that is if you go into landscape, it eats up almost the whole display. But if you hold it like this and you go to type, you could type with your thumbs. Personally, not a big fan of that. I don't want to reach those keys. I like to use the pinch down keyboard so I can swipe type with one hand while I'm holding the device. Now, if you look at the iPad Pro and you look at the iPhone, the keyboards are approximately the same size. You look at the Mini and it's like, no, it needs a bigger keyboard. It should be a consistent experience. And that's messing me up because sometimes I do work with the Pro and swipe type like that. I don't want to two thumb it. I use my iPhone. I'll swipe type on that. Now take a look at this iPad mini keyboard next to the iPhone 6, and we've grown way beyond the iPhone 6. Now the next potential deal breaker with this is web browsing. I use my iPad Pro all the time to look up stuff, products, research. I'll roll it this way, do split screen, which you can do all the split screen here. But web browsing on the 11-inch or the iPad Air, you get a full screen to see websites. With the iPad mini, this screen for full-size websites is too small. You could turn it this way and then it ends up being about the same size as this, but I don't want to use the device that way. And trust me, I thought about it. I'm like, ooh, I just do this and now it's a nice light mobile. That's not how I want to use it. And really, why not scale this to fit this device the best it can? And maybe that is the best it can, it just doesn't work for me. I find with certain websites, you're navigating around, have to zoom in. I don't want to do all that. We are now at a point that almost every website has a great mobile experience and a great desktop experience. So on an iPad Pro, great desktop experience there. And then when you get on the iPhone, you get the mobile experience. The way things look on this, I'd rather go with my phone, or I'd rather go with the iPad Pro. Now I mentioned text. That is a big issue on here. You can go into settings and you can adjust the text size, but that doesn't change the text underneath the icons. It doesn't change the text in the widgets. It only changes the text in certain apps. And in the Apple stuff, it adjusts and you'll see the change for the bigger text. But then you go into something like Notion and that doesn't scale out, doesn't even fit the screen all the way, and maybe the app developers will change this, but the text is too small and it doesn't change with it. So really you're at the mercy of the developer on whether they make the adaptive text. With some of these apps, the text is actually bigger on my phone and it's quicker and easier just to stick with the phone. The text really needs to adjust across the operating system into the widgets and icons. This is such a great device for content consumption, and depending on what your use is, could be the perfect device for you. Just for my use, doesn't work out. I think Apple's got to get the scaling stuff down, and maybe they will, but you gotta buy a device for what it does today. And today, yeah. If you're coming from a larger device, try to go see it somewhere, really dig into the different apps, see how you feel about it before you go out and buy one. If you're a current mini user, you're gonna get a great updated experience out of this. But until Apple improves the software on the mini, I can't recommend this. I'd really recommend going with the iPad Air. It's about the same size as the iPad Pro. Amazon has some great deals. So basically $50 more, you get the iPad Air, all the same options except the camera upgrades and a couple of those other things, but pencil support, all of that, and a larger canvas that it's probably going to take care of you for years. The iPad mini was never meant to replace my iPad Pro. It was meant to be used with my iPad Pro and my phone. At the end of the day, I'd rather stick with just my phone and my iPad Pro. Too much stuff is too small on this. Now, what are your thoughts on the iPad mini? Any interest in picking one up? Let us know in the comment section. Next, make sure to check out this video over here. There is some great Apple Watch information. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.